Hey everybody, welcome to the Catholic Influencer Podcast. A conversation to help Catholic influencers like you and me to go deeper and further in our influencing of the world for Jesus. I'm your host, Father Rob Galea.
And I'm your co-host, Danii Sullivan.
And we look forward to talking to you today about family. Hey, Danii.
Hey, Father Rob.
It's such a blessing today, nice hot weather here in Victoria, and while the rest of the world seems to be in cold.
It doesn't feel like a blessing. We are in this disgusting little room with no air conditioner.
Yes.
It's not lovely.
Our small office, but we'll be moving soon.
Yeah, very soon.
To a bigger office.
With an air conditioner.
Yes, hopefully.
Just in time for winter.
Oh, that's nice. I can't wait. And well, you spend more time in the office than I do.
Yeah, I don't know if we'd call it your office, to be honest. I think the office is like maybe Qantas.
Yeah,
maybe
the airport. Yeah, sponsored by Qantas. Not really.
But if Qantas is interested.
Yes, exactly. Just give us a call. So it's today we're going to talk a little bit about family. I love family. Do you love your family?
I'm so excited for today's topic. It's a bit dangerous though. To ask me about my family and I can talk for hours.
Yeah, you talk about your family quite a lot.
They're my favourite people in the world.
Yeah, family is such a blessing. It's where not everyone has a good experience of family, but when it's rightly ordered, the family is the most beautiful place where we can discover God, when we can discover ourselves.
I 100% agree with that, Father Rob. I mean, I learned who I was in my family and my parents definitely brought me into the faith.
Also the popes. A lot of the popes talk about the family being the first school of worship, the place where we discover God first. But it's also a place where we learn to struggle, where we learn to forgive, where we learn to move on. We learn a lot about relationships, don't we, in family?
Absolutely. I grew up in a family. I'm one of 5. So there was a lot of forgiveness growing up. I have 3 brothers, so I'm jam-packed in the middle of 3 boys, and we've got an older sister as well. But growing up around 3 boys, there was lots of forgiveness on both sides. I think I would kind of poke them, they would hurt me, I would run to mum and dad and play the baby sister card.
Lock you in cupboards as well.
Oh, yeah, one of them locked me in a cupboard.
For a long time.
I was 30 minutes.
Oh, 30 minutes locked in a cupboard.
And forced me to listen to classical music. As like a 12-year-old, it was pretty funny.
Yeah, funny now, but not funny then.
I've forgiven him, which is a beautiful thing I learned from that awful experience.
Yes. But you see, this is the beauty of family. You come back, always coming back to understanding about forgiveness, always understanding about mercy, and that we love people even though we disagree with them. And I think one of the things is family is disappearing as an institution. So we're becoming less forgiving. We're becoming less tolerant. We're becoming more precious and more offended. We get offended about so many things. The world gets offended when we say the wrong thing or even think or assume the wrong thing. And I think that's a connected, I'm not 100%, but I would say that is connected with the brokenness of the family.
Yeah, or another thing that I've noticed in more recent times is that when something is broken, we've got this more of a throwaway kind of culture where, this family's a bit broken, like we're not going to try to repair it as much as we would have in the past, which has its positives and its negatives. But yeah, when you see a family really striving to stay together, they're learning so much through that experience rather than, if a family kind of runs into troubles and they dissipate, then
so it's about fighting for what is God given, and we're in a disposable generation where everything is thrown away. We just changed our dishwasher here in the parish, and mind you, I think it's an old one, so maybe not a good example. That's been there like 19 years.
I think it blew up before it was replaced.
Not a good example, but
I get where you're coming from.
But we tend to throw things away before we even try to repair, before we try to fight for something that is worth fighting for. But also the family is a place of responsibility. It's a place where we have to reach out to one another. I think it's Pope John Paul II. He said this: as the family goes, so goes the whole world in which we live. So the family is a reflection of what society will become, because that's where we learn. That is our first society. And so it is our responsibility as parents, as children, and even myself as a priest who's there to serve the family, is to make sure that we learn to love Jesus within the family.
And there are so many great examples of families like this that put Jesus at the center, and that's obvious. there's the Holy Family. Jesus was very much at the center of that. And that is the perfect model. I don't know, Father Rob, you may heard, I have this beautiful goddaughter. She is the best, most beautiful goddaughter in the world. But her family, so her parents, Erica and Alan, they are, to me, the most perfect example of the Holy Family. I mean, there's little baby number 2 on the way. And I think I'm allowed to say that because it's pretty soon and it's on Facebook, so it's fine. But, you know, just seeing them, and I love going and having dinner with them and just seeing how they interact with each other and how much Alan loves Erica and how much Erica loves Alan and how, you know, Stella is the product of that and how much they both love Stella because they love each other. And it's just this beautiful dynamic, and they, you know, have their struggles, but they always, you know, fight through that or open up communication, and just they are this beautiful example to me of just, you know, family goals. Pretty much. And
reaching out to the community as well. They volunteer in parish. They help out. They say, I also am involved. Like, I'm also the godfather, mind you, on this, of this beautiful Stella. But also that they don't isolate themselves. They're very involved in youth ministry and adult ministry.
Yeah. And I think, you know, as soon as someone comes into the parish that, you know, might need a home, they're the first ones to open their door and welcome them home for a meal. Like, it's just this beautiful place of welcoming and hospitality and love. And that's just what a family, in my biased opinion, should be.
These are beautiful examples of what families should be, yes. And it's not the only form of the family. But I think one of the things, and let's talk about this, you know, about priority, because I think one of the things that we need to understand is that family, yes, there are kids, and what happens is when kids come into the family, all of a sudden the children become the priority, as they should. But one of the things we need to understand that in a marriage, in a family, it is first God. God should come first in everything, even before your husband and your wife. But you think this is crazy. But yes, God should be the number one. And then it is each other, the husband and wife. Now, one of the breakdowns of family sometimes happens when they start to put the children before each other. And when the children come before the husband and wife, then the children don't have the example of love, of selflessness, of giving, and of just what a holy family should be.
One time I remember talking with my mum, and when you grow up in a family with 4 siblings, you're always trying to, you know, just get a foot above the other. So you'd ask mum, like, who do you love more, me or Patty? And she'd never answer. And then one day I came up with a better example. I was like, okay, mum, who would you save if there was a fire in the house, me or Liam? And she looked at me, and I was about 13 at this stage. So I understood that she would probably choose my 7-year-old brother, and I was fine with that. But instead she looked at me and she said, I would make sure that your dad was safe. I'd save him first. And as a 13-year-old, I was shocked. I was like, Mum, how dare you? He's an adult. He can save himself. But then later when I was thinking about it, I was like, oh, like Mum must really love Dad. She's going to save him first. And that, you know, I remember that, you know, 12 years on, just because it was such an eye-opener for me to see how much my mum loved my dad, that she was going to go make sure he was safe and save him instead of me or my little brother. I didn't even get to win my own self-made argument.
But this is the point as well, is that when a husband and wife love one another and they love each other selflessly and affectionately, then that is a beautiful example of love to the children, and the children feel loved. I remember my parents, for example, showing affection. My mum would always hug and kiss my dad, and my dad would, while my mum was washing the plates, would come from behind and just hug her and kiss her. And it's like, at the time you're like, ew get away. But
disgusting.
But now I think, wow, that taught me like affection. That taught me that family is about love and is about romance. But it's also, they would put the children, they would love the children, but as a team. And this is one thing that always frustrated me, but I understand it now, is that my mom always took my dad's side. And I'm thinking, like, you go to mom for mercy, you go to mom for your side. But no, she was always on dad's side. She would try to help dad see things the way she did, but she would always defend dad and never go against him. So I think, again, the priority of mom and dad, and if that is ordered, then the children will see that and be ordered. But again, it doesn't end within the family itself. Like you talked about Alan and Erica. They reach out to the community, because a family that is stuck with within itself will stagnate. It will just become dry. It will become about ourselves, us against the world, when it is us to serve the world.
Yeah, and Alan Nerka, this example of this young couple in the parish, so going outside of your home into the parish, and then outside of the parish into the community, and then everything that they do as a family is going to point back to Jesus, because people are going to see that there's something different about them. This isn't just Alan Nerka. This is all, families that are focused on Jesus.
We'll have to tell them to listen to this podcast.
We'll give them.
We didn't plan to talk about them.
I just thought of the best example I could. But all families that are centered on Christ, they're going to be an example in their home, in their community. So any family that's focused on Jesus, centered on Jesus, they need to be out in the world, because that's where people are going to see them and going to see what's different about them.
That's right. And it comes with a life of prayer, doesn't it? Because it's impossible for a family to put Jesus first, to put each other first, and to reach out to the world if it is not with a time of prayer. And praying before meals, praying as a family together, praying the rosary, lighting a candle together, reading scriptures together. But not only the parent with the child, but as a family together. I meet so many parishioners today. For example, another family that comes to mind is a family, husband, wife, and 2 children. The wife is not even a Christian. She's a Buddhist, but the husband and the children are Catholics, but she joins in the prayer, and it's their prayer together, and they have a beautiful shrine devoted to Jesus, Mary, Joseph, and as a Buddhist as well, she enters into that time of prayer. But it is God that is at the center, Jesus who is at the center even of a marriage that is not both Catholics. So it is possible. Yeah. It is possible. So look, we're soon going to one of the great families that I met just recently. I didn't know them too well, but I was having a conversation with Mark. His name is Mark, and he's married to Myrna. Now, Mark and Myrna are young. They actually, when you look at them, they look in their early 20s, but they're in their early 30s. But they have five children already. And they're they're found everywhere. Like they're volunteers in the parish. They help out in youth group. I just had a big event with 700 young people in Sydney, and they were at the forefront organizing all of this, getting all of this together. And so it's just, they're always at the forefront of everything, standing at the forefront. And I just love to see people who are just so outward looking.
They sound like an amazing couple. And yeah, I listened to this interview just before we've recorded this, and it's amazing just hearing them speak together, and then about, their relationship, about their children. It's really beautiful. So we're going to go into that interview now with Mark and Myrna.
So I'm here in Sydney at East Fest. We're about to begin a big youth rally, and 2 of the great volunteers here who I got to know a little bit are Mark and Myrna. Mark and Myrna are a married couple, a young married couple who have quite a large family. I'm just going to let them introduce themselves and just a little bit about their family, who their family is.
Hi, my name is Mark. I'm a registered nurse from St. Vincent's Private Hospital, and I'm part of the St. Michael's Day Civil Parish.
Hi, my name is Myrna. I'm also from St. Michael's, obviously. I work for the St. Michael's Parish. I'm a secretary on 1 day a week, and I work also at the hospital part-time, and we have 5 children.
5 children, and you both work, and you both serve, and you both volunteer. This is just amazing. What a blessing. And I mean, I complain because I'm a priest, and I think I have too much to do. And I don't have the family that you have to juggle the family that you have. So I'm just going to start off with this question. Look, you're married. You got married in your early 20s, yes. And then 5 kids later, now I imagine in your 30s, and you found yourself here. Did you ever imagine yourself being where you are today?
Never, no. I always complained to my wife that we never really had a meeting about having 5 kids, because sometimes at home it can get quite hectic and quite crazy. And when I complained to my wife, I'm like, we never had a meeting about having 5 kids. Like, how did this happen? But, at the end of the day, having such a large family and being involved with the church is a real blessing for us all.
Amazing. And so tell me a little bit about, you didn't have a meeting of to have this family, but you did meet, you did plan to get married. And
yes.
But before that, there must have been a story. How did you guys meet? Where did you guys meet? And tell us a little bit about you.
So it's quite funny. We actually met at a youth group. It was YFC, a Youth for Christ. But we didn't really see each other. She was actually on the internet, and Myrna, my wife, was using her sister's account. And then I actually spoke to her and I was like, hi, my name is Mark. I'm from YFC as well. And then she said that she was using her sister's account. And then eventually we met and we started hanging out. We started dating. So yeah, that's how we met.
So it was one of those deceiving things. You thought she looked one way and she looked the other.
He could have married my sister.
He could have married your sister. Oh, that's awesome. And so you met, you dated, and then eventually you decided to get married.
That's right.
But why get married so young? How old were you when you got married?
I was 23.
I was 27.
And I was actually proposed to him.
Because it was a leap year. I think there was only time that a woman can actually propose to a man. But I think eventually I ended up buying a ring and proposing back to her.
Oh, that's lovely. So, look, I'm just going to ask, we're talking in this podcast about being a Catholic influencer and influencing the world. But also, I think one of the greatest influences we have, one of the greatest powers we have as family is to influence our family, that they too may become influencers, may fall in love with Jesus and impact the lives of others. Now, I think it all starts, I suppose, with a life of prayer. You are both devout Catholics.
Yes.
You both live out your faith.
Yes.
And you and I know how impossible it is to live out your faith if you don't pray, if you don't have a life of prayer. So how do you, with 5 children, 2 of you with work, find time to pray and to put God first?
So I'm also an acolyte at my church where I serve every Sunday, and I've been serving now for the past 19 years. I think just involvement in the church and getting involved, to participate in the church, I think really gets the family involved as well. My son, the oldest son at the moment, is reading. Our second one is doing the offertory.
I think it's being an example for your children. We always put church first. There's never a time where we never go on holidays during Christmas or Easter. It's the busiest time for the church, and we showing them that it's a priority. Definitely showing that example to say that this is part of our life. We work around the church because it's important to us. And having said that, they see the importance of it, then they value that. And
because they see you putting God first, they, as a result,
yes,
put God first as well. And what about like prayer? Do you pray as a family?
Every night we pray just before we go to bed, and the novelty of it is we light candles and the kids, take turns reading. We have passage from the Bible or children's Bible, and then they can blow out the candle after. But even just as simple as sharing a meal together, when we ever get a chance to be together as a family, we actually say the grace first, and we even sometimes say grace for breakfast, lunch and dinner if we are all together.
Yes. And it's and that praying after Mass. I remember my dad, we used to come and pray together during meals. And my mum, who was more the religious, used to say, come, let's pray together. And my dad would say things like, why are we going to pray again? After we've just come from Mass? Now, there are a lot of struggles and in the future. Look, you have young kids as old as 12. And how old is your youngest?
1.
She just turned 1.
So he has a 5-year gap with the second. So the second is turning 7. So in the last 6 years, I had the 4.
Wow. So there you go.
The last 6 years has been
intense, to say the least. But that's amazing. Yeah. And so these kids are being brought up in a culture which is very secular, very non-religious. And there are a lot of temptations, there are a lot of difficulties. And do you have any fears like that your kids might not embrace the fear? And how do you deal with those thoughts, those fears?
I guess one of my fears for my kids is as they grow up and they grow in such a secular world, they may lose their faith or may not want to go to church anymore. But I guess the best thing to do is just try and keep encouraging them to go to church, keep praying, and I guess just to keep praying for them as well.
Yeah, that's right. So it's almost praying, like you said, praying with them, seeing you serve the church. So there's this community, there's service, there's prayer, but also praying for them, because that's so powerful. Your little one, it says she goes to sleep with my song Angel.
That's it. Yeah. It's actually saved my sanity, because for the past year, we've been using your song Angel to put her to sleep, and she just goes to sleep no matter how cranky or how angry she is. As soon as she hears that song, hears your voice, she is out and she sleeps like an angel.
She sleeps 10 to 12 hours.
That's amazing.
That's not
the power of the music.
That's it.
But that's what that song is about. It's about praying for your children. It's about interceding for your children, that they may grow up to know, to love, and to serve Jesus. Now, a question maybe a bit more intense of a question is the culture today, even you as a young married couple, is all about self. You know, I'm married at 22, 27. The 22 and 27-year-olds today you want to live for yourself. You want to build business, finances. You want to be free. And it's a culture also that's not open to life. So what gives you the strength to be open to life in a culture that doesn't encourage that?
I guess for me, I think since I've got a family, I've got 5 kids, it's not really about me anymore. It's all about them now. You know, when I was growing up, I used to sit at the front seat. I always got the skin for the chicken. I used to get, the front seat for the plane. You know, everything was all about me. But now that it's my kids, my family now, I have to give up everything. I have to give up my chicken now to them, the best part is the chicken skin, but the
and
kids
then they
love
spit it out.
No, they love it. They love it. They eat it. I don't know. It's just for me now. It's just about them now. It's just,
For me, I've always wanted a lot of children, 20 to be exact, but I knew that wasn't possible. But definitely 4. So that's how much we talked about 4. But not to say that Marley was an accident. She was definitely planned. All of our children were planned. And I guess you learn as, I'm not a perfect mother. I stress a lot. I yell a lot. But, I do pray a lot. When I'm by myself, I pray a lot that my children will understand when I yell.
Yes.
Sorry.
No, that's good. And that's human, absolutely.
I pray that they will understand. And I pray that God will... And to be honest, I've never been so patient in my life. I think I have more patience with children than adults. Yes. Because it's something I've been doing for 12 years. And I learned to have patience with God's help. And
it's amazing as well, and the love you have is unbelievable. I'm just even like, I have some of my friends who are having kids. I look at them and they've changed. They're different now because now they're in love. They've been in love with their wives and their husbands, but it's just different now. No more self, and the more you can be patient. Doesn't mean you don't lose it. Doesn't mean you don't lose your patience.
I definitely think it's brought us as a couple a lot stronger. We used to fight so much.
Oh, we still fight now. We still fight now. Every now and again, we do have our disagreements.
Silly things, but we used to fight a lot. And since having our children, I think we've become a stronger team, and our bond is a lot stronger. Which we hope our children will
learn from us.
And appreciate.
Yeah, it's through the example and the love you have for each other. I think that's one of the most powerful things, is that even that children see that you put each other first, even before them, in a sense. Because it's first God, then you've committed to love and serve one another, and then together as a team, out of that love, you serve each other. And that's not always easy. It's not always easy, especially after an argument.
Yeah, that's right.
But so, look, I just want to finish off this interview with one more question. So, When I just see that Jesus tells us to have childlike faith, okay? And now for me as a celibate priest, I look and I think, look, God asks us to have childlike faith. But I suppose I have a different vision and a different understanding to what that means to maybe a mother and a father who have 5 children. What do you think Jesus was saying? What do you think he was meaning? And what do you understand by Jesus saying, have childlike faith?
I get asked this question a lot at work. What does it mean when Jesus says to be childlike? And I always start off by saying it's important to remember you need to be childlike, not childish. Okay? And to me, to be childlike is to have that innocentness in a child, you know, the wanting, the needing, of wanting things and needing things, but in a very innocent, I guess in an innocent way. You know what I mean? Like...
Yeah, so it's like it's about just not questioning everything, but trusting at the end of the day what God says has more wisdom than what we think.
That's right. Yeah.
So, look, Mark and Myrna, I really thank you for your time. I really appreciate you making even the sacrifice to bare your hearts and your souls through this. But I just want to say, like, I really thank God for you. I thank God for your selflessness. But I also thank God for using you in spite of your mess.
Yes.
That we are all messy. And that goes the same with me, goes the same with everyone else. But how beautiful that God has trusted you with these 5 beautiful children, and we as listeners will pray for you both. We'll pray that they will grow to know, to love, and to serve Jesus like you do.
Yes, thank you.
So thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your words, and thank you for your faithfulness.
Thank you, Father.
Good luck, everyone.
Thank you so much for joining us today on the Catholic Influencers Podcast. We'd love to hear from you, so please get in touch at frgministry.com/podcast or any of our social media, so Twitter, Instagram, Facebook with FRG Ministry. And we'll be back next week. Until then, God bless.